Okay, so hi, this is John Janelli, and I tried to record this while I was scoping it, but it didn't work. So I'm going to give an overview of what you need to be able to create video games on your computer, 3D video games, using the Unreal Engine 4. So first off, these are the requirements you're going to need if you want to be able to create video games. You're going to need a quad-core processor, Windows. So a quad-core processor is recommended. I think you can do it with a dual-core processor, but an i7, an i5, those are going to work if you know what that means. 8 gigs of RAM. I think you could probably get away with like 4 or 6, but this is what they recommend. Uh, you're going to need a graphics card. And if you don't know what a graphics card is, you probably don't have one. So to find out if you have a graphics card and to find out what your computer can do, you go over here and you type in computer. And I look at this PC. I think on Windows 8, it actually says my computer, but you can just click on properties on either one of those. And this window will pop up and it says under system, this is all the information you're going to need to look at. It tells you what processor you currently have. If it does not say i7 or i5, or if it doesn't say at 4 gigahertz or at 3 gigahertz, if it's not at least a dual core, basically if it's more than 6 years old, it's probably not going to work. You're going to want about 8 gigs of RAM. More is good. I have 32, which is probably just overkill, but I also do video editing and stuff. And to find out if you have a graphics card, you need to go down to your start menu, type in device manager, and under display adapters, you're going to see the graphics card right here, like an NVIDIA GeForce or an AMD Athlon or whatever. If you only see this first one, like an integrated HD graphics or something like that, that means you don't have another graphics card. All you have is the one that is inside the motherboard, and that's not going to be enough. So you will have to purchase one of these. You can buy a graphics card for a couple $100. Probably a decent one for like 150. But I'm not really going to get into that because that's kind of a whole new world, whole different world. So let's say you want to buy one. You don't have one now. Best Buy right now has this HP Star Wars Special Edition laptop for only $880, which is actually really cheap for a computer that can do all this stuff. You can also buy desktops there. If you're not sure, just go inside Best Buy and ask them, hey, I want a gaming computer, and make sure it has a video card, not just an integrated one, but like just say like a GTX or something like that. So, or NVIDIA. So this one has all the stuff you're going to need. It's got 8 gigs of RAM. It's got an i7 processor. It's got a video card on top of it. So an NVIDIA GeForce 940, which is fine. It's going to work sufficiently. It's not going to be amazing, but it'll do the job. So if you don't want to make that investment, there are some 2D options out there. I post a link on here. I'll give you all these links in my comments. And this is just a list of all the 2D engines out there. The one that I've used in the past is Game Maker, which is cool. It's if you want to do just 2D side scrollers. I think I made Pong in this. That was my first game last year. Go for it. But if you want to get into the, 3D world, this is what I use. Unity is also a great one. I've played around with it, but this is just what I'm used to. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. So you go to unrealengine.com and you go to get Unreal, and you need to download the Epic Games launcher. So if I type, I've already installed it, and this is what it's going to look like. Let me just take a second to pop that up. It's loading. Well, essentially, it's going to give you it's what you need to install Unreal Engine 4, which is this little tab right here. And you just install it, follow directions, and you click launch. And then you'll have the option to pick a bunch of templates. You can choose like a side scroller or a first-person shooter or third person. I chose this vehicle advanced map just so you guys could quickly look at it. This is what Unreal Engine looks like, and this is our game-making program, Unreal Engine 4. It's absolutely free. It used to cost a couple $1,000s, but now they make all their money on commission. So this is just a map that was already created, and there's lots of them that you can play around with just when you're learning this stuff. But essentially, like, this is our landscape over here, and you can come in with the landscape tool and you can sculpt it. So I can say, oh, I want that mountain to go down right there, or maybe I want it to go up right here, really, really, really high. You can flatten it out. There's all sorts of things you can do to your landscape. You can make it really, really big. It can extend all around the area. And then you have just little objects you can move around, like these little speed bumps. If you don't want that there, you can just delete it. You can make it longer, move it around. I'm going to do a whole tutorial on how to use this program, just a very, very basic overview, but just so you can see what it can do. And then you can like apply different textures to it. So we have this kind of boring gray texture right here. If I wanted to make something cooler, I can just search for some material. It comes with these. So I'm just going to I'll throw water on there. I don't know, why not? And now you have a water material. And it would take a while for the computer to render this, but I'm not going to do that right now. But when I actually play the game, oh, it's kind of loud. Let me go full screen here. You can see what it looks like. Already got, everything kind of built in. And you can start from scratch. These are just templates to kind of teach you. But if you're just learning this program, this is what you're going to want to start with, just something like this, just to kind of tinker around with it. So it's a lot of fun. And again, there's all sorts of things you can just quickly place in here, like cubes. And it even has a bunch of like pre-made meshes that you can throw in there. There's a static meshes. So if I want to throw in a ball or a ramp, or I think there's even like rocks and I don't know, all sorts of cool stuff. There's a wall. There's tutorials out there that'll teach you how to do all this as well if you're interested. There's tons of tutorials. I pretty much taught myself all this. And it's not easy, but you don't have to be a genius. You just have to be dedicated and have time and be willing to go through all the tutorials. And there's also blueprints for coding. I'm not going to go into that right now, but this is what they look like. And this is how you're going to make things happen in your game. So on top of Unreal Engine, if you want to make games, now you could stop there. You could simply just play around with that for a year and make all sorts of cool stuff. But eventually you're going to want to make your own 3D objects. The program that I use is Maya by Autodesk. They also make 3D Studio Max, and some people prefer that. These programs both cost thousands of dollars, but they have an education license now. So if you're a student and you want to download this, you can for free. Now, I think you have to prove that you go to a school. So if you don't belong to like a charter school for homeschooling or whatever, I don't know if you can get it for free. I haven't looked into it. But if you can't figure out how to get these for free by signing in and creating an account, then Blender is also a viable option. This is a free 3D modeling program, and you can make everything you can make in Maya. It's a sharper learning curve. It's a little harder to kind of get your head around, but follow the tutorials and it'll serve you well. It's a great place to start for beginners. This is what Maya looks like. I was modeling this lightsaber the other day, and I was just kind of having some fun with it. But I'm okay at this program. I'm getting better, I would say, but I'm still no expert. So a lot of the things that I do probably aren't the most efficient or best way. But I was just playing around. I created this lightsaber. I started with a photo, and I just kind of essentially traced it with these. You can create like a sphere. You put it in your world, and then move it around and rotate it and extend it, etc. And then, to make extrusions and stuff, that's how you really build. And I'll spend a whole video on just kind of the basics of what this program can do. But you'll notice that it's all kind of gray and boring right now. So what we'd have to do is we have to texture it. So you take your objects like this, and you have to do something called unwrapping. And man, that's complicated. You have to basically take this 3D thing and lay it out in a 2D format. So it's almost like it's like taking the skin of it and just putting it out onto planes. And then you bring that into Photoshop. And that's going to allow you to put the skin on it, which is what I did here. And again, I'm not a game maker. I'm not a professional. So this is pretty amateur, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I I know I can do better if I spent more time, but it's not bad. You'll notice it's got like little bumps on it, kind of smudges. Um, it's shiny in some spots, but not as shiny in others, like on this black part. It doesn't, it looks metal in some areas and not in others. So, and then this little thing right here, these are your normal maps. It makes it look like it's indented. It's actually not. It's the computer simulating what light would look like if it was indented. But if I were to come right on an angle here, you can see that it doesn't actually go in right there. That's just a trick using normal maps. Um, so yeah, in Photoshop, you start off with everything unfolded. This is what it looks like, just all the different skins, just kind of laid out plain. And then you got to go in like say, okay, now what are my colors going to look like? And then you apply your colors. Okay, well, what about the metalness? What parts are going to be metal? Well, the white here, um, sorry, the white here is the metal parts. Actually, I'm not really sure. I don't remember how I did this. It's been a while. But then the roughness is like, okay, what parts are going to be, what are the rough parts going to look like? And so, that's how I got all these little smudges and stuff, and like kind of a brush metal look. So there's like four basic maps. You got your color map, which we call albedo or color base in Unreal. You got your roughness, which is also called gloss, depending on the program. You have your metalness, which is how metallic it is, and you could also use something called specular to do that. And then you have your normals, which are, I think I only did one thing for the normals right now, and that's that little button. It looks like these little weird purple things, and there's programs that will generate that, which I'm not going to get into. In order to get Photoshop for free, I got a link right here. You can still get CS2 for free, which it's pretty much a must to have Photoshop. So if you don't have the money to spend the hundreds of dollars to get the latest version, Photoshop was tired of people pirating the software, so they just released CS2 for free not too long ago. And this link will tell you how to get there. Now, in order to see a preview while you're doing your modeling, your texturing, you're going to want to make sure you can have a 3D preview of it. Otherwise, it's really tricky to know exactly how it's going to look. This is a program called 3Do by, I think, a Swedish company called Quixel. And this program costs money, but you can download it, try it for free. And then the 3Do version, the actual, this little window right here, see there's 4 different programs, but this one is free. So you can use this forever without having to pay, which is awesome. And then, if you're going to want to make normal maps and other cool stuff, these 2 programs you might want to spend money on someday. I think they have educational licenses, which are pretty reasonable. I think maybe $50-$100 to get those. So let's see. So you make your game, you make your objects, you skin them. It's pretty easy to send this right to Unreal. You just, right there's a button that says send it to Unreal. And that's basically it. Again, I'm going to get into each of those parts for a little bit more detail in another video. But if you have any questions, just leave a comment below and I will be happy to answer them. Thank you for watching.